We'll give it a go. All right.
It's going. Hi, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. We're going to do a what to watch episode. I usually do these by myself, but I wanted to get T-Pike involved here.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the bigger weekends of the year. This is generally the end of the season for most teams, but a lot of these schools are just getting started.
This usually is rivalry weekend here, Thanksgiving weekend.
That's right. Well, there's some big ones going down Friday. You got Iowa State, Texas, 12 o'clock start. Number 13 against number 17.
Iowa State's got to win this game to stay alive. I mean, I shouldn't say stay alive, but I mean, they've already got kind of a leg up in the Big 12. But they got to win this game to stay in the hunt for the championship. I'm probably going to end up facing Oklahoma again. Look for Purdy to have a big game, but Texas is in a pushover. They've won 3 straight. The hot seat talk with Tom Herman has kind of simmered down just a little bit because they've won. I expect it to ramp back up in a big way if they lose Friday. But gotta love Thanksgiving weekend because you get good games on Friday.
Absolutely. Another big game. We got Iowa, Nebraska, number 24 Iowa against Nebraska. Don't really know much about these schools right now because we ain't seen them. Yeah,
I was been on a couple times and watched a little bit. They beat the crap out of Penn State. Nebraska, you know, what can you say about them? It's really, really tough for them to recruit there. They've got to go out and find a lot of 3-star athletes from places like Texas, California, Florida, those places, and bring those lesser star guys in and develop them.
Right.
They bring in a lot of 6'2" to 6'4" skinny guys that they try to build up into linebackers. Hasn't happened. Scott Frost is a good coach.
Yeah.
I believe he's going to get things turned around, but it's really hard to do that in Nebraska.
It takes time.
And this isn't, you know, the 80s in the early 90s when Nebraska was rolling. But, you know, hopefully, I'd like to see him get turned around. It's a lot more fun when Nebraska's good. So,
at 3:30 ABC, we got a matchup of number 2 Notre Dame and North Carolina, number 19 in the country currently. This could be an interesting game. You had very high hopes for North Carolina.
I did. I was so high on them in the summertime. They can put up a crap ton of points. Their offense is legit. They've got weapons everywhere. They're basically they're 2 deep. Their running back is awesome. They've got a handful of good wideouts. Sam Howell's great. It's just that defense. There are a lot of young guys in the secondary. They had some guys opt out. Some experienced guys opt out before the season. Notre Dame is a tough road to hoe. But it's really, really hard. I was thinking about this coming home from work today. It's really hard to go undefeated in college ball. Unless you're playing in the cakewalk of the Big Ten or the ACC, it's really hard to go undefeated. Kind of think Notre Dame might lose this game. I'm not going to pick them to lose. I'm saying if Notre Dame's going to lose a game before the rematch with Clemson, it's going to be this one. Because North Carolina can put up a crap ton of points.
Well, that would just throw everything, a gigantic monkey wrench in the whole game.
It would. It'd be fun, though.
Yeah, it'd be...
If that happens, and let's say, because North Carolina's already out. They've lost a couple of conference games.
Right.
Notre Dame would probably get in to the conference championship again with Clemson. Then you look at maybe Clemson beat them. That's a 2-loss Notre Dame.
They're not getting
their biggest win being a Trevor Lawrence less Clemson.
Right.
Who jumps in ahead of them? Is it going to go to a team like maybe like an Oregon? Is it going to go to a Cincinnati or BYU? Or are they going to say, what if Texas A&M is sitting there at the end of the year with the only loss being to Alabama? Are they going to jump them in? The playoff committee, and we'll get to them in a minute, they've set the precedent for a non-conference championship team getting in. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it definitely throws a monkey wrench if Notre Dame loses, which I'm kind of hoping happens. Not for them to lose. I just want to see the monkey wrench get thrown into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's all about chaos.
Yes.
Chaos is always fun.
So much fun.
All right. Some other big games for Friday. We have the UCF, the 2017 national champions against South Florida, which basically doesn't mean anything. Let's see. Oh, another one to watch. Number 15, Oregon against Oregon State. That's 7:30 on ESPN. And Corvallis, of all places. But anything else on that Friday docket you think that's really interesting to discuss?
I think that Stanford Cal game would be interesting to watch. It's a really good slate Friday. So you basically have all 3 time time slots. You had a pretty good game in all 3 time slots. So you can basically just get your butt on the couch at 11:50 in the morning, and you don't have to leave until midnight that night. You know, or 10:30ish that night. So
Don't recommend starting drinking that day.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. We played that game before.
Yeah, it gets a little old.
Yeah. All right, Saturday. So you got number 4 in the country, Ohio State against Illinois. I'm just going to go ahead and say Ohio State's going to roll on this one.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. Then noon slots, not great. You've got Ohio State, Illinois. You got Florida, home against Kentucky. Indiana, home against Maryland. Oklahoma State, home against Texas Tech. Some ranked teams versus unranked teams. Shouldn't be too intriguing.
Huge matchup, Penn State against Michigan at noon.
Yeah, that big noon. I mean, that'd be a pretty cool game to watch. Historic game. 2 struggling programs. Who's going to come out on top?
We don't have that game this weekend of the season. Generally, it's Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, whoever loses this game, oh man, I can't imagine what Twitter's going to be like for that fan base.
Yeah.
But I think that in the noon slot, probably the most intriguing game is Kentucky versus Florida. Just basically because Kentucky can run the football. Florida's run defense isn't that great. And maybe Kentucky can have one of those 25-play drives, keep the ball in 9 minutes, and kind of prevent trash from getting on the field.
Right.
That's the way they even hang with them. I kind of think it's going to be Florida in a boat race, but not a great noon schedule.
But I mean, this year's just different. You're going to have games next week and a week after that, and then you aren't getting the conference title games until towards the middle to end of December. So there's a lot of football left to be played. Your 3 o'clock slots, you still got Coastal Carolina ranked number 20 in the country. They're still undefeated, right?
Yeah, I watched them last week and I was kind of bored.
Yeah. You got Clemson playing Pittsburgh. They haven't played since Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Dabo, it's Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving, and I'm pretty sure Dabo's still making sound bites, about that Florida State cancellation. Just let it go, dude.
Yeah.
We all get it, and we all agree with you for the most part, but you don't have to, do a press conference every 5 freaking seconds and bitch and moan about it.
Yeah. Moving on, Alabama, Auburn. Rumor has it Gus has got an extension in the works already.
Yep, and Saban's got COVID. This time he's actually showing symptoms, so it's maybe legit.
I think it is legit.
There's some conspiracy theories around that, and I'm not advocating conspiracy theories, but I thought they were entertaining. That the kind of the false positive of the week in Georgia was a test run to see if his assistant coaches could handle it if he was out. Which I know the Alabama people, they're a different breed.
Yes.
I think this spread's like 24 points. I expect Alabama to cover the spread. Auburn's not a bad football team, but
they played better as of late.
They have, and their weakness is run defense, and Alabama's just going to give the ball to Najee Harris. And then when Auburn kind of is like, okay, we're going to stick a couple extra guys in the box, and boom, Mechie, Devonta Smith, who just, as we discussed on Sunday, broke the record for the most touchdown receptions in the SEC. I think Alabama, and it's not in Jordan-Hare, where Auburn kind of has a tendency to get lucky, get some calls, get some bounces that go their way for a pick six. That's not going to happen Saturday. Alabama's going to roll in the Iron Bowl, but look for Gus to still get an extension. That's a pretty good season. They've lost 2 games. They lost to Georgia and they lost to South Carolina, and they're going to probably lose to Alabama. That's not that big of a deal. But they've got Texas A&M next week after Alabama. That could be 2 losses to end the season. And then they're finishing up at 6-4.
Yeah. Not ideal.
Not ideal, but I still think Gus is getting an extension.
Yeah. You got number 8 in the country, Northwestern, against Michigan State at 3:30 on Saturday. Northwestern, they're looking pretty good, sitting on top of the other side of the Big Ten.
Big Ten West, 3:30 on Saturday afternoon. Set your clocks, guys, if you want to take a nap. Put that game on, and get yourself a blanket or something, and take yourself a nice 45-minute to an hour nap. I'm still a little irritated about last week where you had a couple of college football talking heads, mainly Stuart Mandel and the people at The Athletic, just ranting and raving about how great of a game Northwestern Wisconsin was. two imposing defenses, imposing their will on the opposition. And I kept thinking to myself, it's not that difficult when there's zero skill guys on either side of either team. Yes, Graham Mertz, Wisconsin's a good quarterback. He played like dog shit Saturday. There isn't a guy on the field that could start for Ohio State. There isn't a guy on the field that could probably start for, half the teams in the ACC, Big 12 in the skill positions. Northwestern's defense was good. Fundamentally they were sound. They tackled very well in space. They didn't make mistakes. They didn't get a lot of penalties. And really neither did Wisconsin's. But the notion that this is an elite defense, that's like saying Georgia's an elite defense because they shut down Tennessee and Jared Garantano. Then you saw what happened to them against Alabama and Florida. That's what's going to happen to Northwestern when they play Ohio State. Fortunately for them, that's the only team they play that's going to be able to do anything to them. They're probably going to ride themselves to a bowl game, and it's probably going to be the Rose Bowl for them against a Pac-12 team, and they'll probably dominate that. They play half the teams in the Big 12, SEC or ACC, and they get enrolled by 30. Look, the Big 10, as we discussed Sunday, I'm just going to rant on it for a minute. I don't have anything against them.
Right.
I've been talking up Ohio State. It's not Ohio State's fault that they run roughshod through the conference. I look at it more as that's on the other teams. They're doing the best they can. I don't want to dog out Northwestern or Michigan State, but this isn't like Alabama, Florida, and then Texas A&M, and then Georgia, and then Auburn. This isn't like your top team and then some really good teams below. This is Ohio State, and then a massive gap.
Right.
And hasn't really happened in recent years, but there was a good 7 or 8 year clip where the 6th ranked SEC team was blowing out the 4th ranked Big 10 team. And the Big 10 and the Big 12 don't play that much, but it would probably go the same way just because of the skill position.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of quality skill positions. Look at Michigan. Where are all those great wide receivers? Where are those great Michigan running backs? Penn State's got an excuse. Those guys are all injured for the year.
Right.
I don't see in the Big 10 conference a lot of guys, other than Freifogel. We're not talking about Ohio State. We know them. Freifogel, Rondell Moore, who in my opinion is still probably the most electrifying player in the game. I can't really think of anybody else that's, you're a defensive coordinator and you're like, we got to like make sure we got a DB on him and a safety, or put a linebacker on the guy, spy this guy. There's not too many of that. And I just thought it was ridiculous that the notion that these elite teams are going at it for a sole possession of first place in the Big 10 West. And then I took a nap.
The 2020 hype is real.
Yeah, it's just, okay.
Yeah.
I guess they have to do it because the Big 12 is kind of a mess right now. I still think Oklahoma takes anybody in the Big 10 minus Oklahoma. Minus Ohio State, yeah.
All right, well, number 5, Texas A&M is taking on LSU at home at 7 o'clock. I'm just looking for Texas A&M to roll that one as well.
Yeah, hell, finally they get into play, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Texas A&M's a great team. They lost to Alabama. They lost to Alabama by 28, but I watched that game. Honestly, it's wicked cliche. It was closer. It was closer. There was like a span of a minute and a half at the end of the second quarter where Alabama scored, A&M gets the ball, Mon throws a pick, Alabama scores again, and all of a sudden, boom, 14-point swing.
You got Georgia at South Carolina, 7:30 on the SEC Network, to see if JT Daniels can do 2 in a row here.
He looked good last week, that's for sure. I think this game is intriguing because you've got interim head coach of South Carolina, Mike Bobo, former player for Georgia, played on the same team that Curtis Smart did.
Right.
He's also an offensive coordinator for Georgia. I don't know why they're not looking at him. Shane Beamer's the guy that he's the hot name right now for South Carolina. Obviously, Hugh Freeze. There's a couple other guys out there. Although I did hear Hugh Freeze who said he'd prefer Tennessee, but whatever. I don't know how true that is. But anyway, Mike Bobo, he's an established SEC offensive coordinator with proven success.
He can recruit.
He can recruit really well. He's got 4 or 5 years head coaching at Colorado State. Didn't really work out that well for him, but for a couple of years he had them going pretty well. it's tough to recruit to Colorado State. I was throwing that out there. He's a good coach. He's got some good assistants that he brought with him from Colorado State when Muschamp hired him. I don't know why he's not getting a good look. Yeah. And maybe they do give him a look. I don't know. It hasn't really been out there, but I believe he deserves a look.
I think he's the best recruiter they've had since Burton.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, I'd give him a chance.
His first game last week, they lost 17-10, but they lost Shai Smith, their star wideout, and do-it-all kind of guy. He's not going to play Saturday. I'm wondering what he can do these last couple games to maybe, if he's not going to get hired at South Carolina, maybe he can do something with his last couple games to get him hired somewhere else. Right. Maybe in the ACC or maybe like a smaller school if, some of those Power 5 guys jump up, he can move into that spot because he's a good coach and, like I said, great recruiter.
Washington, they were supposed to play BYU this weekend. There was something going on with that.
They wanted to play him, I don't know, again, Stuart Mandel basically ran BYU through the ringer, and it comes out it wasn't their fault. I guess they wanted a guarantee. They didn't want to sign without a guarantee, and they wanted to see what spot they were in the playoff rankings too. But they wanted a guarantee because they didn't want to sign and then get left not being able to play a game. Well, that would have happened because now Utah can play the game. Yes. So BYU have been screwed without a game. So good for BYU for sticking to their guns. Yeah.
Well, and BYU can still get a game if something falls between now and Saturday.
I don't know what the whole rules are about that, but I hope they play because watching Zach Wilson's awesome. It's fun.
Probably one of the most exciting players in the league.
Yeah.
In college football right now. Let's see, games that have been canceled. You got the Cincinnati Temple, which want to see what Cincinnati can do. They're getting a lot of hype, and if Notre Dame gets knocked off, Clemson gets knocked off. If Auburn finds a way to pull it out this weekend and just chaos ensues, Cincinnati might sneak in the dance. Oklahoma, West Virginia got canceled.
It's postponed.
So it's postponed, but we'll see how that shakes out. Minnesota, Wisconsin's canceled.
That's huge. Because that's the third game Wisconsin misses. The rule is they're only playing 8 games. You got to play a minimum of 6 to be eligible for the Big Ten championship. Now, obviously, they're not going to make because they lost to Northwestern, but crazier things have happened. Big Ten championship, they're not eligible. However, it's only Wednesday night. You know for a fact, people in the athletic department are working the phones trying to get them in game. Whether or not it's going to happen, what the rules are about who they can and cannot play, I don't know. But I know they're trying to get a game because they don't want to be out completely.
Well, I guess it's Minnesota who's having the issues.
Minnesota's the one that's having the issues. Well, Wisconsin had the issues for 2 weeks and missed 2 games. Now it's Minnesota.
You know what they need to do? Call BYU.
Call them up. Get them on the horn. That'd be a fun game.
Yes, it would.
Brandon Martz and Zach Wilson. 2 QBs that can sling it around.
Put an 8 o'clock start time and let's go. All right. Well, that's the end of the games this week. There's a Tuesday game, December 1st, Western Kentucky against Charlotte at 10:30 in Charlotte. I don't think I'll be watching that one.
10:30 a.m.
10:30 a.m. Yeah.
I gotta work.
Yeah. So that concludes this episode of, I guess, what do we call this? The weekend preview?
Yeah, it's a what to watch weekend preview. Threw some shade at the Big Ten. Sorry, people probably gonna get upset, but
let it be.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
That's true. So I think it seems like it happens every freaking year.
You guys have a good day.
Happy Thanksgiving.
That's right.